Hi guys, it's Alfie back again with another video. So we've got a good Chelsea fan on here, Jonathan. How you doing, mate?
I appreciate the invite, and yes, it's a really interesting game because we're both vying for top four,
Yeah,
a lot on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck in.
yeah. So it'll be a very interesting game tomorrow night. So how do you see it going tomorrow then?
Yeah, as we just said, it's you seem to play better against top six sides, the bigger sides, especially away from home. If we can break you down, then I'm confident we can win if we take our chances. But yeah, if you set up like you have been, then you're going to stifle us, make it really difficult for us. And obviously, if you can get a goal, then it's going to be very difficult because we don't really look like scoring more than a couple of goals. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see a win, but it's going to be tight, in my opinion, either
You
way.
know what? That's the exact same with Everton because we've had 1-0 wins. We had 1-0 against West Brom, 1-0 win against Southampton, and 2-0 against Liverpool, which we all know and loved about that night. Um, yeah, so I think it'll be like a 1-1, 2-1 game. It depends on the day, really, doesn't it? So,
Yeah.
how do you think Tuchel will line up?
I would completely expect him to do what he has been doing recently. So three at the back. Obviously, Thiago Silva, we think he's probably ready. So he would come back in, which does strengthen the back line. Also, with Richarlison's in a lot of form. Calvert-Lewin is dangerous as he has been all season. I know he's been a bit quiet of late, but we've certainly got to be wary of you. So I think it'll be a three at the back. As I said, he'll play his pivot of Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, two of those three. And then I don't think Abraham's fit, so you'd probably go for Drew up front with maybe Werner. But obviously Mason Mount at the moment has been terrific for us. If we can get him on the ball and running at your defence could cause you problems. But I think that the main positions that are up for grabs tomorrow is the wing backs, whether we play
Yeah,
Alonso and be more attacking or we play Chilwell and a bit more defensive. And again, on the right-hand side, if we go a bit more defensive with James or if we go Hudson-Odoi and try and attack you, because Digny is one of the strengths of your side. So he's going to be, pretty hard at the pitch a lot of the time. So might just go for someone like James to try and stifle him. That's the thing. It depends how adventurous does Tuchel want to be. Against Liverpool, we were very contained and controlled and we hit him on the counter. We can't play that against you because you're going to want to make sure you don't leave too much space in behind for us.
yeah. With Everton, to be fair, we usually like the opposition to have most of the possession. To be fair, I don't know how Carlo was under you back in the days, but usually we have less possession, but we just hit them on the break, like you say, and just finish our chances. Basically, like say we took our chances against Liverpool, Southampton, West Brom. Not West Brom, like, but them type of games where you should be taking your chances, and we did, and we got 9 points out of those last three games, and even a clean sheet. So it'll be difficult to go for this game because this is obviously the main title of the video, the race for top four. So it'll be very interesting because I think it'll go down to the last day, in my opinion. So where can Everton hurt Chelsea in the team then?
I think if Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin can go up together and sort of be a pair up front, I don't know how you're going to sort of set up, but we've been quite content against the one striker or sometimes sort of the two coming up and combining with. But if you have two set strikers against our three and try and go up against a Rudiger and Azpilicueta, in a three, we've got generally a spare man, a Silva, a Christensen to try to mop up and intercept. But if you've got two strikers that occupy our main centre backs, it then makes it a bit more difficult for us because we then don't really have much space in order to kind of keep the ball and pass it on, because we generally, the defenders will always have a spare man. We then get it through the midfield and get it through the attack. So if you can have two up against us, you could cause us problems. And I think, again, look, if Alonso plays, you've got to exploit that because defensively he's not very good. If Hudson-Odoi was to play, again, you can get in behind him. So I think the main bit I would say, I don't know if Sigurdsson's going to play, but that bit in the hole, sort of the number 10 role, if you can get in between our midfield and defence and kind of have someone in between the lines, you may be able to hurt us. So yeah, I'd, as a Chelsea fan, I'm certainly wary of that. If you can get Richarlison to drop deeper or Calvert-Lewin or someone like Sigurdsson to get a bit more forward and try and get some space, that's probably where you could hurt us. But we control the ball, we control games quite well under Tuchel's system. And because we've always got that spare centre back and generally like a Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante that comes in intercepts, it's really tough for teams to kind of get much of the ball and get at us. So there's an interesting comment saying about Mount, worrying about Mount. I think Jalen Roberts has just said. I think, he's probably the key man for us tomorrow. So, so you've got to make sure you watch him tomorrow because, I mean, that goal he scored against Liverpool, which I'm sure you enjoyed as well, being in Liverpool. Fantastic finish. So, one to watch.
It depends whether James is fit to play this game because we don't know whether Tom Davies is fit, James is fit, Coleman's fit, but I don't know whether he'll play him. I think James and Tom Davies will be back, to be fair, because the last 2 games they've been fingering what's it called, like last fitness day. So basically, whether if they're fit enough to play, and I think they weren't fit for like the Southampton game, but I think they were like on the reserves in a way for the West Brom game. So maybe if they'll come in to this Chelsea team, starting alongside Allen and all, because Allen was benched against West Brom, but he brought him on like say half an hour left of the West Brom game, so I think he'll start and all. It would be interesting whether Josh King will start on the left side. I don't think he'll play up top personally because Richie and DCL is firing up top together. They've been playing up top together a little bit of last season and all, but we rotated to like a 4-3-3 at the start of the season. But I think playing as a 4-4-2 with Josh King on the left will really help us for this game because I think it'll be a very physical game because I don't know about you, but say, how do you reckon Chelsea can win this game? Obviously, our wing backs because of say our left back, say Lucas Dean, and Holgate isn't that good at defending, but can be effective attacking wise. Holgate's more of a defensive, but not as he's very shaky at sometimes. But Lucas is very more attacking. So I think you should be aiming for those spots. I don't know whether you should be playing through the middle, out wide. Where do you see it happening? Where Chelsea can get Everton?
Yeah, I agree. When your wing backs go forward, even when I think there's certainly space in behind, and Werner likes to go out to the left if he does play, and Mount generally drifts quite a lot. So I think just trying to move your defence side to side because you have kept a lot of clean sheets lately. You have done a lot better defensively, but earlier in the season there was so many times where I just thought this Everton team's there to be got at, and I think Carlo's rectified that to a certain extent. Yeah. But a team. With the attacking talents of Werner, of Giroud, of Mount, that's not even including Pulisic, Ziyech, and Havertz from the bench. Yeah. We've got enough quality and individual quality if we can get on the ball to cause you problems. And I still think the 2 centre-backs, I don't know if you're going to play Mina or King, but I still feel like there's a mistake in them. And if we go at them and Giroud can kind of occupy 1 or 2 of them and we can play off of Giroud, I think there's we could get some joy there. But as I said earlier, we don't really look like scoring more than a couple of goals just because we're not creating as much as I'd like because of the fact that we've got the 3 at the back and we have to sort of sacrifice an attacking player. So, yeah, certainly in the wings, which Werner likes to do, run into the channels behind the wing backs. And I still think, as I said, the centre backs, if we test them, there's a possibility. But
you see, sorry to interrupt, but Mina will be out for this game because
is it okay?
Out for like 2 weeks. So our new centre half pairing is Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane, and they've been really doing quite well with each other. To be fair, with the Southampton game and the West Brom game, because whenever I see them, like say another opposition attacking, there's always that one person. If that one centre half makes a mistake, they go and recover for them, which I quite like to see because for both English, they understand each other and they know how to play with each other during. Because Ben Godfrey's only had this season to play, and he's like one of me already my favourite centre half, to be fair. But he can play as a right back or left back. He can play anywhere across the channel. So yeah, Carlo will be going with Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey for this game.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've seen Godfrey play right back a few times. There was one
Yeah.
game, maybe it was the last game you lost when you were playing at home and you were sort of chasing the game and Godfrey was going up the right quite a bit. He was quite far forward at times, actually, because there's been times where you've played like 4 centre-backs across the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is
But
always
it's
interesting to see.
It's worked out, though, to be fair. So obviously the past fixtures, well, the past results we've had with Chelsea, we beat Hughes at home 1-0, but the last game with fans, we got battered 4-0, and Mason Mount made his debut doing the little dance he did against Liverpool, which, tell you what, the dance against Liverpool, we all loved it in Re Blues.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think, this is one of Everton's biggest games in like a decade, honestly, because we all thought after losing against Fulham 2-0, like say a month or 2 months ago, we thought top 4 is defo gone, but it's still on. And there's always that fight because the season's wage, you just seen Manchester United beat City 2-0. It's mad. And then you see Liverpool with their 6th losing streak at home. It's a mad season. So it depends who turns out to be better side on the day, really. And Everton usually play better against the top 6 sides, where, say, like 2 seasons, last season, we were awful against top 6 sides, but Carlo's formed us to be like a top 4 side now. I'm not saying that we'll get it this season, but I think we're looking quite dangerous. But Tuchel's currently undefeated as Chelsea's manager, so there's another plot to twist it. So what's your predicted lineup? And then I'll talk about my predicted lineup and see.
I think one good thing to see is obviously Tuchel is a fantastic manager with experience in terms of tactically. He knows how to set up a team and a system that suits the players he's got at his disposal. And one thing to say about Carlo is he's walked in at Everton and completely changed everything. You've gone from a club who was kind of drifting. He's brought you now onto the cusp of the top 4. And even if you don't get top 4 this season, massive respect to sort of the squad and also Carlo for getting you into that position. Because as I said, you were kind of drifting and we weren't really sure what was going to happen until he came in. So, you know, the fact that you are challenging is testament to you. So yeah, Carlo, I've got very fond memories of Carlo. Obviously, the 2010 league he won for us, that team he built was sensational. It was obviously built on attacking football, but he's been more pragmatic at Everton and gone, right, these are the players I have. I've got to play a system that suits them. And he's now seemingly found that. So, yeah, obviously Tuchel has done the same thing, unbeaten. He's playing to our strengths, using the players in the right position. So, yeah, so for the team that I'd think it would be very similar to what it has been recently. Obviously, Mendy in goal. The 3 centre-backs. If Silva's back fit, I think he'll probably go Silva in the middle and then Rudiger and Azpilicueta, the other kind of centre-backs. And then on the right, I think he'll go Reece James to try and stop Digne on the left. And then on the left, Chilwell's done last couple of games, done really well. So probably he'll be left wing back. The 2 kind of in the pivot, in the holding roles, I'd say Jorginho and Kante did really well against Liverpool. You know, why they can't continue, I don't see why not. Kante does intercept well and kind of break the lines. He just runs forever. So I think his energy will be important. And then, yeah, the 2 in front, Werner and Mount, who've been, you know, Mount's been sensational lately, as I said earlier. Werner's looking better. He needs to get some goals to back it up, but he's looked a lot better. And because I think Abraham's going to be out, I would go Drew up front because I want Drew to kind of occupy your centre-backs and give them something to worry about. So that's the 11 that I think is good enough to get a result. But again, like you said, it's all about who turns up on the day. And if we have the right mentality and we attack you, the game's there for us. But if we just don't really go for you and we play a bit more cautious like we have done recently, there's a chance for you. So what's your sort of 11 that you think? So obviously I wasn't aware Mina was injured. So who's your right back now?
So our right back will probably be Mason Holgate, but it wouldn't surprise me if Seamus Coleman comes in because Carlo likes to have that one leader in the team. I don't think Sigson will come in. I think he'll come off the bench because he made an instant impact against West Brom, getting that assist. I think he'll be on the bench, so I reckon we'll go with Pickford in goal, Lucas Dean, left back, Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane, 2 centre halves. We'll probably go with Mason Holgate or Coleman. I'll probably go Mason Holgate because he plays better against bigger teams. He's dreadful against those West Broms, the smaller teams. On the left, it's a bit tricky because we've got options like Iwobi, Bernard, and Josh King. I thought Iwobi, he was awful against West Brom. Bernard, he was all right, not the best, but I don't know whether Josh King is fit enough. He's been coming off the bench, but he hasn't even started one game yet, so it's quite difficult to call. But I'll probably go with Bernard on the left. I'll probably go with Allen and Tom Davies. Reason why I'm not sticking to Corey is because there's rumours that he has broken his foot and he's played a lot of games. I think he's only missed one game of the season. So we'll be talking about rotation in a minute. On the right side, hopefully, James will be back for the game. It's mad putting James on the right, but to be fair, it doesn't make a difference because he plays wherever he wants. He can revert to a number 10. He doesn't do that. He doesn't sprint quite a lot because all he does is pass and just ping balls over. I think he doesn't really sprint that often, if I'm being honest. So I'll stick with James, hopefully on the right side with DCL and Richie up top. So let's talk about rotation now. I've seen you've gone with Chilwell over Alonso. Since Tuchel's came in, Alonso's been looking all right for you, to be fair. Alonso under Lampard, he was awful, wasn't he? Alonso under Lampard, but Tuchel's come in and he's really developed Alonso itself. So, how come you've reverted back to Ben Chilwell then? What's made you swap him?
Just quick before I go on that, FGA football, love that nose joke, by the way. Whenever I go on Everton channels, because Mike's channel, there's a lot of banter, and he always talks about my nose. So fair play to him. Love that. Brilliant. To be honest, I think the reason he's gone for Chilwell, especially in the last couple of games, the Liverpool game and the Man United game, is because defensively he's just a little bit more solid. He hasn't been going as forward as much as Alonso because, to be honest, Alonso almost plays as like a second forward, like an inverted forward. So he's a bit of a liability in the bigger games, I'd say. So I get why Tuchel's gone for someone a bit more cautious, like Chilwell, because he's better all round, I'd say. He can defend. Still not the best defensive left back, but he's a lot better than Alonso. So I just feel like his balance, and again, I think Coleman likes to go forward, Digney likes to go forward. So I'd understand why he would go for like a James and Chilwell just to be a bit more cautious, because we've got the attacking players in Werner and Mount who obviously can hopefully cause the problems tomorrow. So I think just Alonso will play better against teams that will sit back, soak up the pressure. He can just sort of drift into the box and not worry too much about what he needs to do defensively. But yeah, in the big games, and to be fair to you, this is a big game for us tomorrow. We can't take this lightly because if we take our foot off the gas, we don't go in with the right mindset, you could easily come out with a 1-0, a 2-1, and anything but a win tomorrow doesn't really help us because, as I said before we went on air, if you draw tomorrow, you've got a game in hand on us, you can then go above us by a couple of points. So it's not the worst thing in the world you drawing, but for us, we need to win to keep the pressure on Leicester and Man United. Because Tottenham are winning 3-1, they'll go a couple of points behind us. So yeah, we've got to be mindful that this game could be a banana slip.
Totally agree with that. To be fair, I think Everton could do the exact same. Tom Marshall says here Tuchel has been saved quite a lot, hasn't he? Has he? I haven't really watched Chelsea that much, but I have seen a couple of games of Chelsea and under Tuchel, and he's just like the same players. They've been reinformed to like all of a sudden a top 4 side. Where were they when Tuchel took in charge?
Yeah, I mean, there's an FGA's just said Tuchel was class, and I completely agree.
Yeah,
In terms of tactically, he's miles ahead of Lampard. No disrespect to a legend of our club, but he's reinvigorated a lot of players. He's reinvigorated the club. He's given us a direction. We have a system where everyone knows their job now, and that's the difference between sort of a couple of months ago. We've got players that know exactly what is meant for them when they step on that football pitch. And like you said, we reinvigorated the likes of Alonso, who was completely cast away. You know, he has his uses, Alonso, against the smaller teams. As I said, he almost acts as another forward, and he does get a lot of goals. You know, you look at the likes of Christensen, Rudiger, who were sort of swept aside. Christensen and Rudiger have been two of our best defenders recently. So yeah, Tuchel is someone who, in my opinion, sets up for every game in its own merit and kind of, I wouldn't say pays too much respect, but in the Man United game, I was annoyed we didn't go after them because their weakest part of the team, in my opinion, is the two centre-backs, Lindelof and Maguire, and we just didn't really go for them enough. So I was actually one of the Chelsea fans that was quite annoyed that we drew 0-0 because a win for us in that game would have been a lot closer to them, and it would have just kept the pressure on. Obviously, then beating Man City today hasn't really helped us because I didn't see that one coming. So yeah, I feel like he's made two mistakes in the 10 games. In the Southampton game, the subs weren't right. We were a bit too cautious and we drew 1-1. And the Man United game, again, bit too safe, bit cautious, didn't want to go after them because he didn't want to lose. So, look, I can't complain. We've won 7, drawn 3. We've won away to Liverpool. We've won against Athletic Madrid in the first leg, won away to Tottenham. So I can't complain too much because Tuchel has been a breath of fresh air since he's walked in. But yeah, he's got the players playing his system in his way, and they kind of buy into the culture of what he wants. And it's exactly the same as Carlo. He's got you playing how he wants for your kind of side. And as I said, really fond of Carlo for what he did. And it's just a shame that, you know, he actually got sacked in your tunnel for Chelsea, which is ironic. But yeah, I don't expect anything less than a really tough game tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be very tight affair, to be fair. What else should I touch on? So there was people saying that you didn't really perform as high standards against Liverpool. So what's your thoughts with that? Because I've heard a couple of Chelsea fans saying that.
It's interesting because, I have seen a few mumbles about, Salah and Mane didn't turn up. You know, they had it done, we would have been in trouble. But we kind of just suffocated them. Every time they had a problem or they tried to cause us a problem, we had an answer. And it was the setup and the system that, in my opinion, just suffocated Liverpool. Yes, you know, Salah came off, not very happy about it, because he couldn't really affect the game. You know, Chilwell kept him, Mane quiet. James kept Mane quiet, and we kept Salah quiet both sides. So I just think it was the way we set up. Yes, it wasn't pretty at times because we didn't have a lot of the ball like we normally do under Tuchel. We didn't, get the second goal, which would have made the game a lot more comfortable. But we just looked, at ease throughout the game. I wasn't really worried about Liverpool scoring a goal because we just looked so comfortable on the ball. I mean, we were playing it at the back sometimes and Liverpool were just chasing shadows. So I don't know why there are some negative kind of reactions coming from Chelsea fans to go to Anfield and to win 1-0 in such a big game. Because if they'd have beaten us, it ruins our momentum. We've gone there and beaten them. It's now, that was the 5th game in a row they lost at home. It's now 6, obviously, because of Fulham today. So it's not an easy task, despite them not being in form. It's a really big game. And as I said, to beat Atletico away, to beat Liverpool away, not easy feats. So I don't think us Chelsea fans can be too ungrateful for how Tuchel started his Chelsea era.
This will make you laugh, actually. Who's the worst defending champions then? Chelsea or Liverpool? I know we've got 12 games to go, but how would you see it going?
Now, that season we finished 10th, we were awful, to be fair. And as bad as Liverpool have been, they're still probably going to finish top 6, maybe top 7. The way we finished that season, I think even Hiddink came in and sort of saw us to 10th.
Yeah.
That was really bad because we were so good in the season before. And then, we were just awful afterwards. So Liverpool have got to fall a little bit more. But I know you want me to say Liverpool because, it is the red half of Liverpool. But
yeah,
it's tough for me to say. But at the moment, Liverpool in a rut. They are in a very, very bad place for so many reasons.
yeah.
So yeah, right now I'd shade Chelsea, but obviously we do
Still
have
like games, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we've got 10 games to go. They can fall even further. And to be honest, they just don't look like scoring at home, do they?
No.
So
They've only
could
scored
get
like
worse.
one, not set piece. I know they scored a penalty against City, but other than that, they haven't scored any, I don't think. I'm trying to think. All of them's been like 1-0s,
I
2-0s,
think in the
haven't they?
six home games, I think they scored one goal, and that was against Man City, I think.
Only a penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the Sheffield United game, I watched that whole game, and Sheffield United had a lot of chances. They just couldn't take them, and both the goals were a bit just weren't great, and it was not a convincing win at all. FGA is making some really funny comments.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh, I love it. But look, I hope you're not laughing tomorrow. Obviously we need a win, so I'm hoping that we can eke out a victory.
Defo. So, talking off subject now, who's your top 4 predictions then? It's tough, because Leicester, they got a lucky result against Brighton, didn't they, with the injuries they've got. They got beat by Arsenal a week ago or something, 3-1. And then you've got Man United beating City, who we thought, they wouldn't be beaten. So, what's your top 4 predictions for the season?
Yeah, Man City, I mean, I did have them, to be fair, at top of the league. And I even said on Mike's channel about 2-3 months ago that I think they would win the league. Yeah. So that's done deal, in my opinion. This defeat today doesn't do much. I think second, I'd probably say Man United, just because they're a few points ahead. They can turn it on when they need to, and they have got players of individual quality. Martial was fantastic today. They've got Martial, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. So they've got the individual quality that should see them over the line. So I'd probably put Man United second. And to be honest, if we can beat you tomorrow, I wouldn't put it past us getting third, because Leicester, they had a little bit of a decline. As you said, they won yesterday and to kind of steady the ship. But
I've put yous fair, to be fair. So my predictions are like Man City to defo win the league, United second, Chelsea third, Everton fourth, Leicester fifth. The reason why I'm putting Leicester fifth is because what happened last season. They went on an awful run last couple of games, and at the end of the season, like Brendan Rodgers, absolutely bottled the absolute title for Liverpool in 2014. So I just think he'll have basically another fuck up, to be fair, and hopefully Everton can finish top 4. But what's your third and fourth position then?
Yeah, third, I would say Chelsea. I say if we can win tomorrow, I feel like we will get third. And fourth, see, you losing tomorrow would put a dampener on it. But I still think if Maddison is still out and doesn't play, he's a real miss for them. And they don't look fluid defensively. They don't look very solid.
Barnes is out and all.
Yeah, exactly. And Harvey Barnes is on the counter, which they like to play. He really does suit their style. So they've got a lot of tough games. I looked at their fixtures. They've got 4 or 5 really tough games. So whilst the win did help, I think you could just edge fourth. I'm on an Everton channel, so I should really say Everton.
The thing is, I think neither a West Ham, a Leicester, or an Everton could finish top 4. I think I'm not trying to be biased and all that, but we've got like one of the easiest run of fixtures coming up out of the top 6. But you just never know. Everton's not consistent, like every Evertonian knows. We've got beat by Newcastle at home and away. We got beat by Fulham at home. We got beat by Leeds at home. It's
Newcastle, I think, as well, wasn't it?
Season. Yeah. They look like they're going to go down and all. Do you think Fulham would basically... I think they're on the same amount of points as each other. Do you think they'll stay up? Because I think they'll just survive.
Yeah, same points as Brighton. I think game ahead. They played a game more, and yeah, 1 point behind Newcastle. I think I don't know about the games played, but look, they look really good under Scott Parker now. They're completely different to the start of the season, and if you compare them to Newcastle and even Brighton at times, they look the better team. So I would probably say that Fulham will probably stay up. And to be fair, they're actually quite an interesting team to watch. They've pulled off some really good results. So. Yeah, I'd hope they stay up, to be fair. I know I shouldn't really say that because they're sort of a rival, but they're not really a rival, even though they just across the road. They're not really anywhere near close. It's nowhere near like a Liverpool-Everton derby.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll be interesting because, again, those teams, West Brom can pull out a result or a draw, which they seem to do a lot of. Fulham, Brighton, Newcastle are all fighting for points. So those games aren't going to be easy between now and the end of the season. The only team I think is gone completely is Sheffield United. So, yeah, even the Fulham games are not going to be easy now. Definitely.
Defo. I just want to touch on something before we'll get into the final score predictions. If West Brom are going down, I think they're probably going to go down, to be fair. You know what Big Sam will do? He wants to keep his record of keeping clubs up, and I think he'll resign. So I just want to touch that up and what your thoughts. No, but honestly, he's the type of guy to do it. I think he'll resign.
Yeah, I think he just came in and it was just they just don't have the players. They don't have a goal scorer, and that is a problem. I mean, Diagne they brought in. He's been better than what they've had, but they've got a really young or really good player on loan from us, a young guy called Conor Gallagher, who has tried and failed to kind of make them a better team. But Allardyce is just. He's too defensive and he's coming too late. They were so far behind, in my opinion.
Exactly.
It was probably the wrong move. And like you said, he likes his record, so you never know.
He was attacking us, Like you say, he wants to keep his record, but give us a little bit more in depth, like you were saying.
Yeah, I do think they're gone, to be fair. I think to be honest, I could see Newcastle going down. I would probably like, as I said, Fulham to stay up just because I feel like, they've actually done pretty well in a lot of games and they're a team that likes to progress and they like to attack. I want to see teams, come in a big game. They've gone to Liverpool today and they have attacked them. They've caused them problems. I don't like teams just sitting back because you can only have so many West Broms and Burnleys in the league because it does get very boring. So, yeah, look, if you're going to come up and play attacking football, I'm all for you. Yeah, but as I said, Sheffield United gone, West Brom probably gone, and it will be very funny about Allardyce, definitely.
Defo. No, but I honestly think he's the type of guy. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll get into score predictions right now, or also leave your score predictions in the chat. So what are you going to go for?
I'd say I feel like you will score a goal. So I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea. That's my heart speaking. My head is saying 1-1, to be fair, if I'm completely honest with you, because I do feel like you will give us a good game. But yeah, if we can sneak a win in any way we can, I'll be very, very happy.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a 1-0, 1-1 affair, to be fair. I don't think there's nothing really else to talk about. I think, who's your scorers?
Mason Mount's just looked like the guy who's going to create and score, so I'd probably say him. And then let's hope that Werner can get on the team on the score sheet because he has been trying. Obviously, he had that goal disallowed in Liverpool, which was tight call. As I said, he's been playing a lot better the last few games, and he deserves a goal. So I'd say Mount and Werner 2-1.
Werner to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, Richarlison just keeps scoring for you at the moment, isn't he? So I wouldn't put it past him scoring.
He was on before he scored against Liverpool, and he scored like 4-4 or 5-5 or 6-6, whatever the numbers are. But at the start of the season until like Christmas, he was awful. But all of a sudden, Carlo's getting him to play up top, and he's firing in the goals. So I think Dom and Richie should definitely play up top together. So don't forget to subscribe to Manhandles. John, thanks for being on this video. Much appreciated, mate.
No, I appreciate inviting me on, and it's good to get a live chat. I say FGA's been making some really funny comments, and I'm looking forward to you buy me a drink when you're in Fulham, mate. So obviously, when we're back in stadiums, I was actually at that Chelsea 4 Everton 0. That was the last game I went to, because that was pretty much the last game we had before lockdown, and I think we only had a couple more behind when they had fans in. I think the Leeds game in the Premier League. So it's the second to last game we've had, and that 4-0 was breathtaking. We were really good that day, and
we were awful.
If we could have another, one of those tomorrow, I can't see it happening, but I would love a scoreline like that.
Yeah.
But I say, I just want it to be a good game, and it to be a fair result, because with VAR at the moment, a lot of controversy. I don't want to see a dodgy VAR call.
Oh God, imagine. So where can everyone find you then?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm so busy. I'm sort of moving house. So I haven't been doing as much YouTube as I want to, but I do guest on a lot of other channels. So I'm manhandled CFC, my name, on YouTube, and then I'm on Twitter, manhandled CFC, no spaces as well. I'm on Twitter quite a lot, to be fair. So yeah, obviously, as I said, appreciate you coming on, and hope, as I said, we have a good game tomorrow. Yeah,
hopefully go and subscribe and follow to Manhandled, and obviously subscribe to Everton Now. Our socials are in the description. I think you guys already know our socials anyway, but thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you to Manhandled, John, for coming on, and I'll see you later. Up the toffees.